The silence inside the hospital hallway was heavy, almost suffocating. Cameras had been turned off, security was tightened, and for the first time, even HYB's top executives refused to speak to the media. But then, something happened that no one was prepared for. Taehyung, who had held his emotions so tightly in public, suddenly broke down in tears after seeing Jungkook's current condition. The moment was raw, unfiltered, and devastating. What exactly did he see? Why did Jin, usually calm and composed, step out moments later to explain what truly happened to Jungkook? The story didn't begin in that hospital. It began days before, when whispers started spreading among armies about Jungkook's sudden disappearance from schedules and his worrying silence online. Some assumed he was resting. Others feared the worst. But when Jin and Taehyung arrived at the same hospital in the early morning hours, everything changed. Witnesses described the scene as unbelievable, with both men appearing pale and visibly shaken. "You could tell something wasn't right," said one staff member who refused to be named. When Taehyung came out of that room, he was crying. Not just normal tears. It was like he saw something he couldn't accept. Fans across the globe were thrown into confusion as hashtags like #StayStrongJungkook, #WeLoveYou and #JinExplainsJK began trending within minutes. Yet no one expected what would follow. Jin appearing before reporters with eyes that looked as if he hadn't slept in days, his voice trembling as he said, "I think it's time everyone knows the truth about Jungkook." That sentence alone froze the internet. But what truth was Jin talking about? Why did Taehyung cry right before that statement? And what exactly happened to Jungkook that made even HYB hold an emergency press blackout? Jin's explanation wasn't a simple one. He began by saying that Jungkook had been pushing himself far beyond his limits, emotionally and physically, especially in recent months. Behind the smiles, he had been hiding pain that even his closest friends hadn't fully realized. Jin's tone broke several times as he said he didn't want anyone to worry. He kept saying he was fine, but sometimes being fine is the hardest lie to live with. As Jin spoke, fans around the world began posting emotional messages, remembering how Jungkook always showed up to perform no matter how exhausted he seemed. Suddenly, the clips that once looked like harmless tiredness took on a completely different meaning. Armies started piecing together signs, moments where Jungkook had held his chest during rehearsals, where Taehyung had given him a lingering look of concern on stage, or where Jin had placed his hand on his shoulder, whispering something only they could hear. And now, those whispers had become the sound of heartbreak. In the days that followed, sources close to the group confirmed that Jungkook was undergoing treatment under a team of medical specialists. Jin and Taehyung reportedly stayed by his side, refusing to leave until he opened his eyes again. Taehyung was there when Jungkook tried to speak, one insider revealed. It wasn't much, but it was enough to make everyone in the room cry. He said one word, "Hyung." That was when Jin broke down completely. Those 3 letters, Hyung, carried the weight of years of brotherhood, struggle, and love. When Taehyung later posted a short message on Weverse, it simply read, "Please pray for him. That's all I ask." The simplicity of those words only made the situation feel heavier. Within minutes, millions of comments poured in from around the world. Armies prayed, cried, and begged for updates, unable to imagine the idea of Jungkook not returning to the stage. Jin's next public statement was even more emotional. "He's fighting," he said softly. "He's stronger than we think." But what Taehyung saw, it changed us. It reminded us how fragile everything can be. The camera lights reflected off Jin's tear-filled eyes, capturing the raw humanity that BTS rarely shows in such moments. Social media exploded with theories. Was it exhaustion? An accident? Something deeper? But HYB maintained silence, refusing to disclose details until Jungkook himself was ready. Meanwhile, Jin's words became a global echo. Love him while you can. Tell the people you care about how much they mean to you. It wasn't just a message about Jungkook. It was a wake-up call for everyone listening. Back inside the hospital, Taehyung reportedly spent long nights sitting near Jungkook's bedside, whispering songs they once sang together. Sometimes, a nurse shared anonymously, you could hear him quietly humming Still With You. It was hauntingly beautiful and heartbreaking at the same time. The media began calling it the silent vigil of BTS. Fans left purple ribbons outside HYB's building, forming what they called the Path of Hope. Jin later came out to greet them, bowing deeply and saying, "He can feel your love. Keep sending it." That moment became a symbol of unity, the world waiting together for Jungkook. But the tension reached its peak when a leaked internal message revealed that HYB had flown in multiple international specialists to join Jungkook's care team. The company didn't confirm it, but insiders said it was true, and that Jin himself had insisted on calling in the best. This revelation only added to the intensity of the situation. Why so many doctors? What exactly were they treating? And why were Taehyung and Jin so emotionally shattered by what they had witnessed? Weeks passed, and finally, light broke through the silence. Jin shared a short update. He smiled today. Those two words sent armies into tears of relief. Taehyung reposted the message with a simple purple heart emoji. No caption, no words. But everyone understood the meaning behind IT. IT wasn't the end of the pain, but it was the beginning of hope. Now, fans are left questioning everything. What truly happened to Jungkook behind the walls of that hospital? How long had he been enduring the pain? And why did it take Jin's emotional breakdown and Taehyung's tears for the world to finally realize the depth of their bond? As we wait for official updates, one thing remains clear. The connection between these brothers runs deeper than fame, deeper than music, deeper than anything the public could ever see. Their silence speaks volumes, their tears tell stories, and their unity continues to define what BTS truly stands for. So, what happens next? Will Jungkook return stronger? Or is this the start of a chapter that changes BTS forever? Only time and his own courage will reveal the answer. Until then, armies across the globe continue to hold their breath, hoping for one sound. Jungkook's voice, calling out to his brothers again. If you believe in his strength, drop a purple heart in the comments, share this story with fellow armies, and don't forget to subscribe, because the next update from Jin might just be the one we've all been waiting for.